The Packers have played their 4 quarters. Now it's time for the 5th quarter.
Hey, welcome back to the Stadium View, another edition of the 5th quarter. Boy, that was a short night and a long night as the Packers fall to the Vikings 24-17 to fall just about out of the playoff picture altogether. A lot to talk about from that one, and the handful left in front of them. Can they run in the table and get a lot of help? Well, we'll discuss along the way with a guy I think you're really going to like. First year with the Packers, but no stranger in the NFL. 13-year veteran tight end Marcedes Lewis is going to be coming on over tonight to join us to talk about the game and his first year in Green Bay. But before we go any further, I wonder if we could just have a moment of silence is always recommended, but let's do it a silent with smiles if we can. To remember the founder and owner of the Stadium View, Jerry Watson, who passed away last week. I think I've dedicated 2 or 3 shows over the 39 years of the 5th quarter. I think once when my dad died, and once when a long-time fan who came every single week for years and years and years passed away. But it certainly merits tonight. Jerry was an unbelievable guy, and he passed away doing one of the hundreds and hundreds of things he really loved to do. He always spoke his piece, and may he rest in peace. And if we can remember Jerry with a smile, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for everything you did for us, Jerry. He's a big backer of the program, and he will be missed. Alongside, as usual, Matt Z. Hello there, Matthew.
Hello.
Well, that one sure looked like the other 5.
Yeah. First, the Badgers lose the Axe.
I know.
And then
it was a tough border weekend.
Another loss on the road for the Packers. In another game where they start hot on the road, look good on the road, look like this is going to be the time where they're going to get over that hump, and then it just all sort of peters out.
It's uncanny how similar these games have been. I can't say it's not for lack of preparation or coaching or readiness. I know there's a lot of people that are just wild-eyed to string McCarthy up right now and usher him out of town. But this team was ready to play, matched up very well, did some creative things, put Jair Alexander on Thielen early on, and they locked him out of the ball game early on. They had some creative offensive plays, a little jet sweep to EQ, a little naked toss to Aaron Jones, and I'm thinking, okay, they finally have gotten it. But for I don't know how many games now in the second half, this one came early. The momentum swing came on a 4th and 1 failure. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
If they would have made it, it would have been great. But if he punted, he would have been vilified. That's just the nature of the business. But they don't get it. Vikings only get 3, but then the Packers run into a really fired up Minnesota defense, and they changed a few things after intermission. Really went more to the cover 2, rush 4, and that front 4 dominated a thinning offensive line. They lost, Byron Bell to a shoe for a few plays, but then Lane Taylor to a knee, and then David Bakhtiari to a knee, and suddenly it was a complete mismatch, and Aaron Rodgers and the offense just could not counter, and the Vikings get the W. Badly needed for them. They go to 6-4-1, hold the number 1 wild card. Packers now 4-6-1, slide all the way to 10th in the NFC.
Yeah, still a chance, mathematically still alive. You're clearly not going to win the division. Everybody knows that. But you do have a shot for a wild card.
Because everybody is average in the NFC outside of the Saints and the Rams.
Yeah, and who knows what's going to happen in the NFC East. You're going to be competing with whoever gets second place in that division. But then also Vikings, Seahawks, Panthers, Eagles
ahead of the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams that you're going to have to leapfrog. And Aaron Rodgers, laid it out. Hey, we win here, we win here, we win here, we win here, we win here. We need a lot of help, obviously. I don't know that it's going to happen. You have some easier games on paper coming forward. I mean, you got the Cardinals, a bad team who essentially gave up over the weekend. Ran the ball in the second half. I was like, let's just get out of here. The Falcons, who are not the old Falcons, but still could be a tough team. And then the Bears.
Bears on the road.
And that's a good team right now. And that's a team with swagger, which not a lot of teams right now in the NFC have. And that defense is nasty.
Yeah, they're good.
And, you finish up with Detroit. You have the Jets thrown in there as well. So there's winnable games. 5-0 seems like a tall task, doable, but then all the help you need along the way. It's just, it looks very, very, very grim right now.
Yeah, it does. And, the the coaches will say it's a variety of factors. They were better. I thought we were ready. Players will talk about execution, but then I'm reminded of the John McKay line back in the day. What do you think of your team's execution, coach? And he says, I'm all in favor of it. And that's kind of the way it goes. And then, there are folks who are saying that, it's personnel. The Packer defense without Perry, without Daniels, without King going in, lost several more going through it. And the last third down conversion was a play that epitomized everything that's happening with this Packer team. You have Tony Brown and Ibrahim Campbell, playing late in the key game, practice squad and street free agents colliding into each other to allow Stephon Diggs to make the catch, juggling for the final first down. That sums it up to me. This team is depleted. They're wounded. I think they are playing hard, but they're just not getting it done.
And they're close, right? Even with all those injuries that you mentioned, and that seemingly is happening every single week.
Horseshoes and hand grenades, baby.
Right? They're very, very close, but then you throw, as you mentioned, all those other odds against that team, and to try to do it on the road against very, very, very good teams.
Yeah.
They're not playing slouches over their last 5 games, except for the Dolphins.
And, the Vikings still haven't beaten a team with a winning record this year out of their 6 wins. So, how they're good, but they're not last year good.
Yeah.
And Packers were not good enough. So, 24-17 the final. We'll head to the locker rooms. But, hey, I'm glad you came down tonight because Daryl and the gang from Robinson's gave us a special Thanksgiving Cyber Monday treat. I only not have 2 tickets to the Arizona game Sunday, but somebody's walking out of here with a 4-pack tonight. Daryl, thank you very much from Robinson. So, bunch of tickets to give away, lots of door prizes as well, so make sure you sign up. And away we go. U.S. Bank Stadium is where we will head to the vaults, otherwise known as the locker rooms, as Mike McCarthy's squad now 4 up, 6 down, and 1 even.
I clearly understand where we are in the season. Clearly understand the importance of this game and being November and so forth, and moving forward we're focused clearly on the next 5. I mean it's exactly the facts. We know we have to win all 5, and but at the end of the day you have to win 1 at a time.
1 at a time, fellas. 1 at a time. Didn't get over to Mike Zimmer's press conference, but had a chance to talk to Adam Thielen, who started slowly but had another big game against the Pack, and he loves beating the cheese.
In this league, winning's not easy, and it takes so much effort. It takes a lot of practice and time and energy to win. So when you win, it feels good. And obviously, against a division opponent, a team that has pretty much owned this division for a while, it feels good to beat them at home.
Yeah, they have owned it for a while, but surrendered ownership.
Yeah, and Adam really likes playing against the Packers, especially
2 games
this season.
this year, 20 catches, 256, and 2 touchdowns for Adam Thielen.
He's good.
Unbelievable. Yeah, and they win at home, and it's now 0 for 6 on the road for the Pack. Aaron Rodgers admits the offense still has issues.
Well, it's just execution. We played a little different on defense. They didn't pressure really in the first half, and then they brought a couple in the second half. But just execution. Guys in the right spot, me making the right throw. We just weren't on the same page on a few of those, and they made a couple plays on a couple of them.
Yeah, line them up for the execution, right? And Aaron's not without some guff. Devontae Adams was wide open late, missed him. Another skip ball on the wing on the play before that. He wasn't horrible, but again, he was asked to move around a little bit. Protection started caving in, especially on third down situations. I think 3 of the 4 sacks came on third down in the second half of that game, and it made it miserable.
Yeah, and it's at the point where he needs to be perfect on every throw, and that's just too much to ask of any quarterback. And you've seen Aaron Rodgers make those throws all the time and not miss a wide-open Devontae Adams. I mean, just barely off the fingertips, and he's done that so regularly that you really do take that for granted watching those games. And when you miss a throw like that, it's almost like the end of the world. Like something has to desperately be wrong with this.
I know. The standard he has set is impossibly high to match every Sunday. But look at Cousins. He sailed one over the head in the end zone, skipping balls on crossing patterns. All of them do that, although Cousins was pretty good. In fact, the defense gave up 416, 342, and 3 from Kirk. Kenny Clark had 1 of the 2 sacks, but he says it's just not happening.
At this point, you can't just keep on saying that. We got to make plays and we got to win games. We here and we making good plays here, making good plays there, and you know it's all hopeful. But at the end of the day, we gotta make plays, and if being hopeful put us in the loss column, then that's never good. You know, so we gotta execute and we gotta make plays.
Takeaways have vanished. That's a big part of it. Yeah, they just have vanished. As I mentioned, Jair Alexander, which was matched with Thielen early, and he relished the challenge.
Oh, that was fun. He's a good receiver. I think he had, like 3 catches on me?
The first long one, though.
Oh, my gosh.
He was able to pull that down.
Yeah. I felt the hand on my back on that one. And I had to turn to him. Man, that was a good catch. You know, that was good catch, good coverage.
He was trying to hold it together with so many different combinations, and there was another different group in the back end again tonight.
Yeah, man, we just cycling there, people through. But people, we got guys back there that can play. I said that before. We just got to win on the road.
You got to find a way to win.
Speaking of guys that can play, Jair Alexander can play. I mean, we've been seeing that week after week. As a rookie, he is.
Yeah, I like his game.
He's really good.
I do like his game.
And if he continues to progress and just grind year after year.
Kevin King can stay.
Yeah, if he can stay healthy.
Who knows? Might be better.
Jair's a really good find.
I agree. Well, as I said, the Packers now sit 10th in the conference, and the question for Clay Matthews is, now what?
As a man, you got to find ways to, make your plays, but at the same time try and stay above it. I mean, we're definitely not in the position record-wise that we thought we'd be in coming into this year. I mean, we thought we can get this victory, and we started hot, but unfortunately, just ran out of gas. And like I said, it's we're beat up. There's no doubt about it. Everybody has to be professional and has to make their plays, and it doesn't matter if you're whatever the record is right now or undefeated. So you have to have pride about yourself and pride about your game moving forward, and that's really what's going to be about these next 5 games.
Yeah, they'll find a way. They have to, beginning with the Cardinals on Sunday, and McCarthy certainly knows the score.
We need to win all 5 games to potentially have a chance. So, like I said, I felt like there were some areas of improvement that was optimistic would carry into this game. We knew we were going to be thin in some spots, and we knew the big matchup today was going to be the O-line versus the D-line. So we are where we are. So we'll just take these next 2 days and we'll be ready to go Wednesday to get after Arizona.
All right, at Lambeau, and one more from the QB says the key is keeping this locker room together with 5 to go.
We'll see what we're made of the last 5 weeks. Are we going to stick together through these tough times, or are we going to start splintering? I'd like to think the leadership is in place that we can stick together through whatever happens. These 5 weeks will show it.
Have you noticed your sense next year?
I haven't. No, I haven't. I mean, guys are disappointed. We're all competitive, and offensively, it's frustrating to put up 17 points and to have the lulls that we've had, but I haven't seen any fracturing.
Well, keep the duct tape or Gorilla Glue handy.
Yeah, but I mean, this doesn't seem to be a team that's pointing fingers at each other, right? And saying,
No.
oh, it's this section of the team, it's their fault, it's their fault. I don't see it as being an issue where suddenly the team unravels and it just becomes chaos. It doesn't seem like that's the type of makeup of these guys.
Like it becomes Arizona or Oakland for that instance. Yeah,
exactly. I don't see that happening, even if they don't win 5 in a row. It just doesn't seem like it's the type of locker room that's going to freak out and turn on each other.
It could lead to a very interesting offseason no matter how they finish.
They're already writing about that.
I know.
The offseason. Lists of potential McCarthy replacements already being written. It's just,
I know.
Let the season play out at this point.
Nothing's going to happen between now and New Year's Eve when they finish against the Lions on the 30th.
But then you force these guys to have to read that stuff and have to answer these questions and deal with that.
We'll talk about
it's
it with
another
a guy
distraction.
that has been reading it for a long, long time. We're just getting started. We are live from the Stadium View on Jerry Watson's Remembrance Night, and we welcome our listeners in Sheboygan and Wausau, our viewers all over the place on the World Wide Web and our Midwest Communication websites. And, of course, here at The View, great place to come any night of the week.
Always great happy hour specials, Monday from 10 a.m. to close. Other nights of the week from 10 a.m. to 7. Great live music on Tuesday nights. They have Singo on Wednesdays. Bar trivia throughout the week. Always the place to be when there's home games or away games.
Finally back home on Sunday.
Celebrate with
for
the
next
Packers.
2. So let's see if they can't get it turned around. We're going to turn around after this timeout. When we come back, we'll introduce you to Marcedes Lewis. He's our guest tonight. He's coming up next on the 5th quarter right after this timeout.
We now return you to the fifth quarter, live from the Stadium View Bar and Grill. Here are Mark Daniels and Matt Z.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Tough one again for the Pack last night in Minneapolis. Yes, Skol, brother, Skol. The Vikings win at 24-17. Got to meet this guy when he was signed by the Packers and came on board to join a very interesting and experienced group of tight ends, with Jimmy Graham, Lance Kendricks returning, and this guy who's in his 13th season, a former #1 draft choice out of UCLA, was taken by the Jacksonville Jaguars, where he spent his first 12 seasons. His best year, 2010, with 58 catches. That was a pretty good year up here, as I remember, as well. But he comes over to the Pack, and a friend of mine on the NFL Network, Stacey Dale, said to me this summer when we were talking, you got to get Marcedes on your show. He is one of the best guys in the league, one of the great locker room guys of all time. So I said, I'll take you up on that, Stacey. And so we got together, hooked him up, and I'm glad he's here. And I'd like you to give a big Stadium View in Green Bay welcome to Marcedes Lewis, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming over, Marcedes.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
How's life in
Mark, you put a lot of pressure on him with that introduction.
No.
Yeah, I like that.
Stacey loves you, man. She loves you.
Sounds nice.
She was your guy.
Yeah, Stacey, that's like my really good friend. She's really good friends with my publicist too. So.
Oh, really?
When I was at UCLA and earlier on in my career in Jacksonville, she had a big hand in what I did as far as like off the field and stuff like that. So they worked together, and I do a lot of work at NFL Network in my off time and getting my reps at Fox Sports West. So they're pretty connected. Yeah,
I would say. Yeah. She comes up here regularly, lives in Chicago. We talk all the time and text each other from time to time, and highly recommended. So I'm glad you came over.
Thank you.
How you liking Green Bay?
I love Green Bay. It's different. I mean, obviously, I was born in Long Beach, California. I went to Long Beach Poly, then went to UCLA. So I'm used to like 75 degrees with a breeze.
You're bundled up with a cap indoors.
I'm trying to tell you. It's totally different. I think when I originally signed in May, it wasn't as cold. And then, as soon as the season started, I started getting a little colder. I think it shocked me at first. But, a couple months into it now, my skin is starting to get used to it. So it's not as cold, but it's been a good experience.
Two cold ones coming up here for the next couple of weeks. That good. Tough night last night, Marcedes. I just can't believe these games are kind of unfolding the same way. Play really well early, just can't sustain it. Any way to kind of quantify or put a finger on what's happening to this team?
That's a tough question. I think, obviously me being in the situation that I'm in, as a competitor, you want to win every game, right? We go out there and lay it on the line. We practice really hard. We leave no stone unturned. And, at the same time, you have to give the other team credit, too. They get paid, too. And, in this game, it's little room for error, right? And, any given day you can be beat if you're not paying close attention to the details. From my standpoint, obviously I'm not the coach, so I'm not putting together the game plans and things like that. But, we put so much pressure on ourselves to go out there and do well with what's given. And I can tell you that, there's nobody in the locker room that doesn't believe that we can get it done on every given night. And, it just sucks that we've gotten the short end of the stick, especially the last two games. You go all the way to Seattle, you know what it's like to play in there.
Right.
And we go out there and start fast. That was one of our things. We wanted to go out there and start fast, and really try to take control of the game. And then obviously you saw what happened in the fourth quarter. We kind of fell off the wagon and, things didn't go, as planned. And then last night we go into Minnesota. We start off hot. Emotions rolling high. We know it's a divisional game, so everybody is, intact and doing what we had to do to start off in the way that we wanted to start. And then, it's like the same story in the second half. And it sucks being a part of it when you're not necessarily the powers that be as far as game planning and things like that. We're just doing what we're coached to do, and we just haven't executed at the end of games.
And it's not like you're playing Cal Poly. You know, you're at, the Rams, you're at Foxborough, you're at Seattle, you're at Minnesota, all really difficult places to play, and every one of those games, uber competitive.
Yeah, I think, like I was saying before, the parity in this league is so good, and even the teams that people think are like bad teams are good. Like from the outside looking in, I mean, if you're not in this game, you're like, oh, well, the Cardinals aren't that good, or this team isn't that good, that team isn't that good. But
you say that till Saturday, look out Sunday, right?
I mean, it's at the end of the day, we're all grown men. We know what we signed up for. We're all, in the quest for a championship. And so anywhere, around the league, you can't go to their practices and say that they aren't practicing hard. Right, that they don't want to win every single game.
That's true.
Every time they step on the field.
And we're hearing a lot about, all right, McCarthy's got to start, the fire and brimstone stuff. He's got to start knocking over water coolers. But you just said it, you're professionals. I mean, that may work at, Long Beach High or whatever. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, at this level, if it takes external motivation to get you motivated to play a game, then you don't need to be playing this game, right? So I think, I like to consider myself an alpha, right? So if you're a guy that, has made it this far and has some success in this league, I have a couple All-Pro, Pro Bowls, all that. Like, it's about, winning championships at this point, and if you feel like it's going to take that to get you going, then you shouldn't be playing this game.
And that's, I think, what brought you here, right?
No question.
You got 12. Pretty good chance, if things are going right. Z, what do you got?
What other teams were interested in your services outside of Green Bay when?
So, after my 12th year in Jacksonville, it's kind of a raw deal. They picked up, I had one more year on my contract there. My dream was to, finish out as a Jag. It was times where, there were opportunities for me to be traded, when we weren't doing so well. Mm-hmm. And I chose to stay there. And then after my 10th year in Jacksonville, we were starting the rebuilding process. I felt like we were rebuilding like every 3 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was always finger pointing, coaching changes. I mean, I've had 5 head coaches, 2 owners, 2 GMs, so I done seen it all.
Wow.
And I was the only guy standing every single year, right? And so, I learned a lot about myself as a person, not just a football player, but like who I am inside and what I've endured and what it takes personally outside of football to go to work every day when you're not winning, right? And so, fast forward, one of my best years last year at 33 years old, right? Rated the #1 blocking and pass blocking tight end, averaged 13.5 a catch, 7 touchdowns. Had my best game as a pro last year, 3 touchdowns in London in 1 game. So I'm in my mind, I'm like, oh, well, let me just, I'm gonna, sign on for this last year.
Yeah.
They picked up my option, and then 2 weeks later, I get a call from my agent saying I think Jacksonville's gonna release you. And originally I'm like, wait, what? Like, what are you talking about? This is where I've been.
That's really, and you endured so much, and last year that team's on the cusp.
Yeah, like it was like literally like I had held Jacksonville high regard, never threw anybody under the bus, always led from the front and by example. I just never a guy that, looked to point fingers at anyone. I believe in my process. I'm very in tune with just who I am as a person, right? Mm-hmm. And always self-reflecting, not after every game, but every day, right? You want to be better, the next day than you were the day before. And I truly believe that. And that's something that had to be learned. You're not born with it. You have to really go through experiences in life and kind of figure out what it is and what it's going to take for you to be better every single day, and always like searching for your process, your process and your purpose, right? And so here we are. My agent is blowing up my phone at 6 a.m. in the morning, and I'm on the West Coast, obviously sleeping. And so I wake up to all these missed calls, and then I see a text message from the GM saying, "Hey, big fella, can you give me a call when you get this message?" So I'm like, what is going on, right? So obviously I called my agent first, and I'm like, hey man, like what is all of this? What's going on? He was like, well, the Jags they're going to release you today. I'm like, what? So I hung up on my agent. I sat down on the couch, turned on the TV, and just to kind of like decompress for a second because I wasn't ready for all of that, right?
Okay.
And sure enough, it rolls across the ticker. And I didn't text my GM back because I was just too upset and I don't want to say anything that I could regret, because, at the end of the day, this league is very small, right? And my credit so far in this league is very good. So I don't want to say anything based on emotion, and not be able to take that back. So I just relaxed for a second, talked to my agent, whatever, it happened. Getting released or getting cut or whatever in this league, it happens. It's part of the game. But how they did it to a man was just not. It wasn't a good deal, right? And so, move on from that. I'm, just working out, doing my thing. For 2 months, I didn't take any calls. Like I was just chilling.
Yeah,
like
I know it was March and you signed in May, so you're right. Yeah, nothing.
So, teams were hitting me up, and the only person that I answered was Gus Bradley. And, you guys familiar with Gus Bradley. Right. Gus was a defensive coordinator with the Seattle Seahawks before he came to Jacksonville, and he was my head coach for 4 years in Jacksonville.
Okay.
And he called me. He never curses. I'm telling you, he's the kind of guy, always happy, no matter what.
Really?
Positive, growth mindset. That's just who he is, right? And he called me, I answered, he's cursing. He was like, what the, why would the Jags bleep, do that? Like, I can't believe this, like, la, la. He's like, they pick up your option, they take you off the market, now all the money is gone, we pick up this tight end. We would have got you if we had known, it was like that kind of thing. And, I got that same kind of feeling with 4 other teams, all the money's gone now. And I'm sitting here trying to figure out what I want to do.
Deal. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, contemplating retirement, and then it took my mom and my girlfriend and, 4 of my best friends, kind of saying like, hey, like, do you still have the fire in you, right? Like if you do, and if you feel like you can help a team, try to win a championship, then go ahead and do that. Don't sit at home or, go be an analyst when you can still be playing on the field. And it was that kind of deal. And to go back to your question, all the LA teams, Chargers, Rams, the Bay teams, the Raiders, 49ers, Miami called, the Giants. I had about like 8 teams calling me every day. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Let us know. Like, what are you going to do? And then Green Bay called like 5 days in a row. And so, my agent
they
was
turn
like,
into a stalker all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, this is a new GM up here. Brian,
what do you
Brian
think Marcedes is doing now?
Yeah. No, so Green Bay called like every day, like nonstop, around the clock. And then, my agent was like, hey, maybe you should just, fly out there and see if you like it. So I flew out here. One day. Met the tight end coach, had dinner, went to bed, woke up, went to the facility, met everybody, and then it started getting weird because I felt like they were like introducing me to like everybody in the building. And I'm like, what's going on? I thought I was just coming on a trip,
Hey, this is the family.
Like it was like a real thing, And after my visit was done, my flight was set to leave at like 5:45 p.m. And Goody, the GM, was like, hey, is it okay if we call your agent? I'm like, yeah, you guys been talking this whole time. Like, I don't mind. He was like, no, like we want to sign you. Like, we're not going to let you leave until we, like. And I was like, yeah, just go ahead and hit him up. And, like, literally, I don't know if you guys are familiar with, like, contracts, but those don't take an hour to do. You know what I mean? And so, we kind of put the terms that we wanted. Nobody's trying to break the bank, but just be compensated for the skill set.
Right.
And, they got it done. They treated me well. I literally signed at like 5 o'clock, and my flight left at like 5:45. So
another nice thing about Green Bay, airport's quick.
Yeah, right. So I signed, walked through security, and flew out. And
Get out, and you're a Packer.
Yeah, I was here to finish up OTAs, and That's what the story is.
That's a pretty good story. We got to take a break. That's just one story, folks. We come back more with Marcedes. Don't go away. Fifth quarter returns right after this timeout.
Here are Mark Daniels and Matt Z.
All right, welcome back. Marcedes Lewis, our guest tonight, having a fun conversation with the veteran tight end. Before we get back into the chat, we got to look for our hot play of the day. You know how it works. You guess the hottest play of the game from last night. You'll take home a prize tonight from our friends at Robinson's. Get you eligible to win the indoor club seats to the home finale against the Lions on the 30th. So let's line them up. Get a hot play. Not a lot of them to choose from, but I think we'll get a winner pretty quickly.
Sandy is up first. What's your guess?
My guess would be Devontae Adams' catch. Like the back
Devontae Adams' catch, the back shoulder. Ooh, did he school Xavier Rhodes or what?
That was good.
Not quite. Sorry, buddy. But, yeah, you're close. You're close. Yeah, he had another big day. He's been fantastic. Over 1,000 yards for the first time in his career last night. Pro Bowl bound. I don't think there's any question about that. The guy's been really good. All right.
Next guess.
Aaron Jones touchdown.
I'm going to go. The hot play was the Pack's final touchdown. It put him up a touchdown, and that was in the second quarter.
2nd and 2, 6-yard line to Minnesota, tied at 7 apiece. Graham, tight end, right side of the line. 3 receivers bunch on the left. Rodgers under center. It's motion to the right. Here's the pitch. Jones around the left end. He's got Bakhtiari blocking in front. Jones makes the turn to the pylon to the end zone for the touchdown.
Here you go. Wayne Larrabee on the call. And who's our winner there?
Scott.
Scotty, congratulations. That's our hot play of the day. The 6-yard TD run from Aaron Jones. Turned into a track meet there, Marcedes, after a slow start both ways. All of a sudden, 4 consecutive touchdown drives. Offenses got going a little bit last night.
Yeah, I mean, just wish it was on our side.
I know.
You know, like I was saying before, you know, when we're out there and we're practicing and 12 is rolling, like I mean, I've seen it in practice, I've seen it in games. You know, it's just it sucks that like you go through emotional swings throughout a game, and you know, obviously you're gonna face adversity. No matter what game that you're playing in, whether you blow a team out or you get blown out, like It's always going to be up and down. And, you know, the key is being able to just fight through the adversity and you know, get back on track, and we just weren't able to do that.
You obviously must have known more snaps were in the offing with Jimmy's broken thumb, right? Was that kind of the idea going in? Jimmy kind of got out there early, but then he kind of vanished for a while until really the 2 late grabs in that fourth quarter drive.
Yeah, I mean, you know, every week, you know, you practice like you're going to start, right?
Right.
Like any professional does that. And nothing was said to me, like, until I was laying in the bed and my tight end coach told me, hey, you know, we want you to start tomorrow. You okay with that? I was like, duh. Like, why would you?
I've been waiting.
100
Rhetorical question.
Right, yeah.
I was like, yeah, like I'm with that, you know, and kind of went that way. Obviously, with you know Jimmy and his broken thumb, we're gonna have to figure out different ways to kind of roll personnel, and you know, kind of help him out a little bit. And you know, I think going into this next week of practice, it'll be more emphasis on that, you know, and getting the different personnels involved more in there early throughout the game. But yeah,
and the way Aaron is running the ball. Also, I think you're going to lean on you a lot more. In fact, I think McCarthy said that was the best rush per carry average in the 3 games at U.S. Bank. I mean, there were some really good things. It was a season high carries for Aaron, 17. I think it's evident that this guy needs touches to help round it out and really help get the rest of the playbook a chance to succeed. Play action, keep game, everything like that.
Yeah, I think so. And you know, if you look around the league, I mean, obviously, you know, we are in a unique situation because 12 is our quarterback, right? So, you know, you rarely find teams where you have like he's literally a coach on the field, can make every throw in and outside the pocket. I mean, he has the whole playbook at his disposal. But when you do have a run game with the type of quarterback that we have, and he's getting his touches and he gets rolling, it does make it, you know, that much easier. I mean, when I was in Jacksonville, I mean, obviously we were a run-based team. Run, play action, we'll take our shots if they were there. But, like, even having a run game and, you know, us having Blake Bortles last year, he was able to, you know, make some plays down the field. right? Let alone if you got Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball. So, this sport is the ultimate complementary game, and I think, as far as offense, continuing to get Aaron involved and get him more touches, it's only going to help.
All right.
You've always been an excellent run blocker, but you've also, over the years, been a difference maker through the air. Has this been a frustrating season for you, only having 3 catches at this point, not being a difference maker through the air like you have in past years, even last year with Jacksonville?
Yeah, well, it's funny that you say that. Like, I think because I block so well, right, it's like, oh, Marcedes Lewis, this run blocker and this pass blocker. But when I do get the ball, I get busy, So I don't know if it's because, defenses forget about me or what it is, but I've always thought that, like, being a really good run blocker and a pass blocker, it, like, sets up, my releases coming off the line.
The Miami play.
And me, and me being able to get open downfield. So as far as me being disappointed, I mean, I knew what I signed up for.
Yep.
I knew that they had brought Jimmy Graham over to be that guy. And so from being upset, I'm not upset. I just think that, I do have a lot to offer still at this point. And obviously would like to be more involved in the offense, but, I don't make those decisions. And I kind of lean on the process and trust the coaching staff that, what they're doing is the best for the team.
It's like the center field song. Put me in, coach.
Yeah.
I can play.
It's funny that you say maybe some defenses forget about you because you're 6'6", 267. I don't know how anyone could not remember you on the field.
Yeah, well, it's normally like, after games, obviously you're talking to players from the opposite side, and, other coaches will come over and talk to you after games. But, I'm definitely one that they game plan for, whether it's, catching routes or blocking. When the defensive linemen have to worry about me, blocking them, and, that means a lot to me. That's always lit a fire into me and kept me going, and know that, like, I don't have to catch the ball to make a difference. And so, throughout the years, I've been very unselfish. I've gone into weeks where the coaches are like, hey, Marcedes, we're not going to be able to get you many targets this game. We're going to need you, more, as like a third tackle to help out because, we're playing against a J.J. Watt or we're playing against a Jadeveon Clowney, So, as far as that goes, I'm used to that. So it doesn't really bother me.
And that even last night too, in some respect, you lose Lane, you lose David. That front is awfully good for Minnesota, and protection became a premium, and it was tough to kind of hold that together. So
I mean, when you go into a game, when you have a game plan, and some things have to change, you have to adjust. What did Mike Tyson say? Everybody has a plan until you get hit in the mouth.
Yep.
Right? And so sometimes, throughout the course of a game, there are going to be adjustments. There are going to be things that you have to be able to adjust and adapt to, right? And, last night, I felt like it was a lot of things happened real quick and real fast and got out of hand, and once you go down, once you go down by 7 or by 10, they get to pin their ears back.
Yeah, they can smell the blood in the water.
Yeah, they get to pin their ears back. They don't have to necessarily worry about the run because they know we're trying to come back.
Yeah.
And so I think, part of it was that, and part of it was execution on our part.
All right.
You mentioned J.J. Watt, Wisconsin kid, played for the Badgers. What's it like to block a J.J. Watt?
You got a guy that's 6'7", 300 pounds, that's fast off the ball. You know what's coming, right? And so I think that I got the opportunity to see him twice a year, and so I kind of got a beat on him. But if you're a guy that's playing like a non-conference game against him, he's probably going to eat you alive, and that guy is special.
He is indeed. We got to take another break, Steve. But when we come back, we'll look ahead to the Final Five with Marcedes Lewis, our special guest tonight. Don't go away. Fifth quarter returns right after this break.
We now return you to the fifth quarter, live from the Stadium View Bar and Grill. Here are Mark Daniels and Matt Z.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Man, this hour has flown by with Marcedes Lewis, our guest tonight. Before we get back to set, we're going to look for a Coldplay contestant from our friends at Robinson, take home the prize tonight, and get qualified for the final game of the season. Well, maybe not, but the final regular season game for sure. Who's in line here? First guess.
Roxanne is up. What's your guess?
Roxanne.
I'm thinking it is Tremont Williams' fumble on the return.
Weird play. Tremont, no, that's not it. Sorry, Roxanne. Not quite. But Tremont said the ball started wiggling on him coming down, and he really should have fair caught it. There's no question about it. And it took an unfair hop right into his grill. That was a tough break. Should have caught it, but he said he just wasn't sure, and he knew there was a crowd around him. But tough play. Packers survived that. They didn't allow any points after that one, thankfully, but it was the only turnover of the game, unfortunately. How about another try?
What's your guess?
Is it the failure to convert on the fourth down?
Yeah, third period, fourth down, 1 yard to go. The Packer 44. Mike McCarthy, he hasn't gone for it all year on 4th and 1, but he decided to do it after thinking they moved the chains on third down.
Oh, it was really close. I mean, initially there was a lot of communication going on there. You know, we felt he had the first down and this and that, and you know, and once we burned the timeout, you know, I stuck with the call. I think like anything, you call plays or you call defenses in this league, you have two calls there, and you know, hindsight's always 20/20. You know, a second call would have been a better call there, but you know, it's football. I thought it was a clean play, and you know, we just didn't execute.
Yeah, they just didn't execute it. If you remember seeing this play, there was some down blocking. Harrison Smith crept to the line. He closed quickly off the edge. Aaron Jones said he never saw him coming.
No, I did not see penetration from some I don't know if it was 91 or 99. One of the D linemen, I made a cut off of him, and Harrison was hitting me from the side, so I didn't get a chance to see him.
I didn't see him, and down he goes. And the Vikings turned that around, and that was kind of the momentum thing, the adversity thing there. Marcedes, they got a field goal out of it, but pushed in front and kind of just changed the game. And, okay, tough things happen during the course of the game. My question is, this team just seems to be struggling trying to either stem that tide or recapture the momentum.
Yeah, that was obviously, you know, a big play, you know, for them. And, you know, at that time, you know, we've been moving the ball.
It was still tie game, and yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, that was a play that we very much needed, obviously, to keep the chains moving. And, you know, they brought Harrison down on the line. Those guys pinched, they hit the gaps. And obviously, you know, you can't really hear in there. And so,
yeah, that is a noisy place.
You know, everybody's laid off the ball. Like, it was just tough. And it was another one of those plays that I was talking about that just happened. It all happened so fast. Like, it was just, you don't want to be on that side of it, I'll tell you that.
All right. We've got just a couple of minutes left. Z, anything
Who do you consider to be the best tight end in the league right now?
I mean, obviously he's missed some time, and Gronkowski, he's missed some time this year. But I think as far as like an all-around tight end, he does it. And but I think right after him it has to be Travis Kelce. I think he does a really good job. You know, he doesn't block great, but he's willing. He'll get in your way. But what he does in the passing game, I mean, there's no substitute for that. So I think his number shows that, you know, every single night.
That's why McCarthy wants you guys. I mean, the middle of the field, he just craves tight end matchups in the passing game.
Yeah, no question. I think, you know, tight ends are like kind of the tweeners, right? You're not a receiver, you're not a lineman, but you're big.
Yeah, you're bigger than that guy.
Yeah.
A lot of them are faster,
you can run,
as fast as that guy.
And those matchup problems are huge whenever you can get them.
What's your first football memory?
My first football memory, well, I started playing football when I was 7, and I played Pop Warner for the team. I played Pop Warner football for the high school that I ended up going to. And my first memory was when I first put on pads for the very first time. And they used to do this drill where they lined us up, 2 different lines, and like we're laying our back, and when he hiked the ball, we'd get up and run at each other, and one of us had the ball, and the other one had to make the tackle.
Ooh, the old nutcracker.
Yeah, and I was the guy running the ball, and the guy was, you know, about to tackle me, and I ran him over. And the feeling that I got when that happened, I mean, I never looked back after that.
You were all set, right?
Yeah, I needed that action.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, we got just a minute left. You guys got today off, and then you're going to get tomorrow off, your regular day, back at it Wednesday. How are you guys going to proceed? Is it simple as going back to work and just getting the result?
It's as simple as believing in your process.
Okay.
Right? And, from that standpoint, I can only, speak for myself. Like, I truly live like I'm on a one-day contract, and if I'm not giving the best that I have every single day, I can't renew my contract for the next day, right? Personally.
Yeah.
And so, just trying to keep that mindset and bring other players along with that same mindset. This is our job, right? And so shutting down is not an option.
Yeah.
Communicating is, right? And trying to figure out ways to be better and give more. Nobody's perfect. You're never going to have the perfect game with a perfect play. But if you can fight through it and have each other's back through it, you can get through anything.
All right, well said. Get it done Sunday, all right?
For sure.
All right, Marcedes Lewis, it was a blast having you on. As good as advertised. I'll tell Stacey next time I talk to her and say hello. Marcedes Lewis, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic guest tonight. We're going to take one more break. When we come back, we're sending a whole bunch of people to the Packers and Cardinals. Don't go away. Fifth quarter hits the finish line right after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Hey, the Watson family's here. Thanks for coming out. We miss you with Jerry, and condolences. And tell you what, our dedicated show to Jerry was about as good as it gets with Mr.
You couldn't
Lewis.
have had a better guest.
Holy cow. Marcedes was awesome, and appreciate him coming on over. Time's tight. We got to send some folks to the Packer-Cardinals game. Thanks to our friends from Robinson. The 4-pack is going for 4 of them.
Millie May.
Millie, you're going to the ball game with 3 of your friends, and we got one more with another friend. Who's our second winner?
Ted Malvitz.
Ted, you got a pair as well. Don't go away. We got some more door prizes to give away. I know it's tough times in Titletown, but hey, they got 5 more to go, beginning with the Birds from the Desert on Sunday. Thanks to Marcedes. Z, it was a lot of fun.
And it's only 89 days until spring training.
Oh, hey, there you go. We'll see you next Monday night. Have a good week, everybody. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks, everybody.